If you need motivation, just watch this video. So I graduated last in my class in high school. I would say it was because I really didn't understand the power behind knowledge, learning, and education. It wasn't that I was just having trouble learning like the different concepts and the information. It was more so like I was disobedient and I was insubordinate. I passed all like the exams, like as far as like the tax test or the stars test. That's what we call it in Texas. But I just did horrible in the classes because I would just sleep or I just wouldn't show up. Just like little stuff like that, and it just built up over time. So throughout my high school journey, funny story, me and my brother Rick, we lived literally, and when I say literally, I mean like we literally lived walking distance from my high school. I don't know how is it that I missed so many days of school in my senior year that one day they were just like, yeah, there's no way that you're gonna be able to graduate with this class. Like, you're gonna have to like stay like over the summer to make up all the absences because like you missed so many days and you was tardy like so many times. And I was just like, all right, well, I guess I ain't graduating. I was already last in my class, so it was like, and I didn't plan on going to college, so it was just like, at the time, it really wasn't like that big of a deal to me. So I was just like, whatever. I guess I'll just stay and make up the days or get my GED. I had to been like I was in that type of mindset. But I had a friend. His name was Johnny Rogers. He committed suicide on pretty much like the last day of our senior year. And it was probably the most tragic moment that I had ever been through, like in that phase of my life. Like, I had never witnessed something like that, like within that time period, because like I had grew up in like the ghetto, but once my mom got married, I kind of like got outside of that lifestyle, and then I was pretty much in a good healthy living environment for a couple of years now. So I had been somewhat removed from my past. But, you know, at the time, I was still kind of young. So it was like a lot of my friends hadn't passed. Most of them was just incarcerated. So after like being separated from that and then like kind of living in the type of environment I was supposed to live in and seeing this person every day, talking to this person every day, and then like actually like witnessing like the fact that this person that was so genuine committed suicide, it was just like nothing that I had been through before. So when that whole situation happened, it was like and it happened at school. So it was like really like one of those things where it was like, this is like crazy. And you know, there was a whole spiel about like, you know, like how does this affect like the students. And I guess the faculty and staff there, they came up with a solution to kind of like make it easier on the seniors that were going to graduate. And you know, luckily, or I should say gracefully, they came to me and they were just like, you know, we understand like the circumstances, because they know like, you know, how like close we were as like a circle. It was like, just, you know, we understand that, you know, you were already put in a tough position, you know, being that you're not going to be able to graduate with this class because of like your tardiness and like all this other stuff. And then you add, you know, this situation on top of that. So they just was like, you know, we pretty much are gonna, you know, turn the blind eye and let you graduate, because it's just too much. You just don't deserve to be put through that. So I was like, okay, but like I was still like, it was just still like a feeling that I had never felt before. So I had went on to graduate, and then mind you, I still had no intentions on going into college. I was still like in the mindset of like, I don't know like how the world operates. So after graduation, I'm pretty much going through this whole summer like I'm just winging it at this point. And then I remember there was a conversation that came up one day. I was in a car. It was me and my two friends. Really almost like my brothers. Like I really grew up with these people like every single day of my life. Like when I say from babies, like our moms lived together. Our dads were best friends. So it was like we're pretty much brothers at this point. So one friend, his name was Rick. He was going to play basketball in college at a university in Dallas. My other friend Levante, he was going to play football at a college in East Texas, Athens, Texas. Me, I was just me. But we had all played sports together. This is what I mean when I say I really didn't understand like how like the educational system worked and like all these different aspects to it. I had a couple of schools reach out to me like wanting me to go and like play for them, but they started mentioning ACTs and SCTs. I'm like, what is that? Like I don't even know what that is. And you know, I remember one of the coaches calling me. He was like, yeah, like we need your scores. Like where's your scores? And I was just like, I don't know if I have those scores. And then he was just like, oh, well, like you kind of need those in order to, you know, come and play. And I was just like, well, I don't know what to tell you. So that was an automatic X out for me. So I didn't really care too much about it at the time because I had no intentions on going to college anyway. So I was just like, whatever. But back to the conversation in the car. Initially, I thought my friend Rick was going off to play basketball and my other friend Vontae was going off to community college to play football. We were all in the car one day. This is after we graduated. This had to be late summer. And my bro Rick was like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm not going to that college no more to play basketball. I'm going to go to the community college with our other friend who's playing football. And, you know, we kind of just I'm going to just go to school there and we could just, you know, all still be close to each other. And then it was like, oh, you should come too. Like, you should just, you know, you should just come, like, just try and see if you like it or what. I'm just like, I'm like, bruh, I don't know. Like, because I'm like, at the time, I didn't understand the importance of education in college. So I was really, like, against it at first. And then they were just like, just try for one semester, bro. Like, if you don't like it, just stop. Like, it's not like you got to do it forever. And I was just like, all right, I'll try it. And then I remember after that, I ended up calling the school, Trinity Valley, and an elderly black woman picks up. And we're having this conversation. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I need to go to this school, but like how do I do it? Like, I remember those being like my exact words. And she was just like, well, baby, I ain't gonna lie. It's a little late for you to be applying here. I don't know if we're going to be able to get you in. And I was like, well. She was like, unless you do it right now. She was like, when we hang up this phone, and she literally walked me through the entire process. Like, she was like, go to Apply Texas, submit this application, pay this fee. She was like, schedule, then you got to schedule. No, actually, when I filled out the application, right, I thought I was done. I had called her back again like the next day, and I was like, all right, I submitted the application, like, so I'm good. She was like, no. She was like, now you need to submit your TSI scores. Have you taken the TSI? I was like, what? I was like, no, I ain't. She was like, okay, you need to register for you to take the TSI. I don't know if we're gonna get your scores in time, but just register for the exam and we can use that form that you registered to hold you a spot. And I was like, okay. So I did that. So I submitted my application. I did my TSI, and I had to pay like a fee, like a deposit. with a money order. And she was just like, and I needed my transcripts from my high school. And then I just called her again. I was like, okay, like I got all the stuff. And she was like, okay, now you gotta fax it over to me. And I was like, fax? I don't know. And she was like, and then by the time you fax it to me, it might be past the deadline. And she was like, or you could just bring it up here. And I was like, all right. I remember me, my mom, and my mom's friend literally, I got my because we had to get because you had to get your high school transcript in like an envelope that was unopened. Like you had to get it directly from the school. I got that. I got the money order, and I took my TSI like registration, and we literally drove 1 hour and 45 minutes to drop this stuff off at this community college. Drove back to my hometown, and like that's how I got into school. So I remember starting school, it was mid-August, right? I'm like not knowing what to expect because like, mind y'all, I done pretty much BS my whole way through high school. So I was like, you know what? I know that I'm probably gonna be a little bit behind most people here. So if I just go to class every single day, I don't miss no classes, because we only had classes Monday through Thursday, which was like really easy. So I was like, if I could just do that and not miss any classes, there's no way possible that I can fail. So I did that for the first semester. I think I got all A's. And I was like, all right, it's not that bad here. I did it for the second semester. I got all A's again. I was like, oh, you know what? I think I figured it out. Mind y'all, this was community college, so it wasn't even like I was staying up for hours and hours studying. And it was just like, I was like, you know what? When I actually do like pay attention to stuff, it's really kind of common sense. But mind y'all, this was community college work at Trinity Valley. So I, did that my entire time there. And let's just say, I've always wanted to be a dentist, right? But going into community college, not gonna lie, I thought it was far-fetched. I thought being a dentist was far-fetched. I'm not even gonna lie. So when people would ask me during like my first and second semester of community college, they asked me what I wanted to do, I would just be like, I think I'm gonna be a dental assistant, and I'm just gonna work in a dental office and things like that. Mind y'all, almost like every night I'm doing research on like how long it takes to become a dentist, and when I used to see that 8 to 12 years, I'm like, dang, that's gonna be way in 20, because I graduated in 2015. I'm like, if it take me 12 years, that's gonna be in 2027. Like, dang, I don't even know if I can do that 2027. But it's ironic because I actually graduate dental school in 2027. During my first 2 semesters, I'm like, I'm just gonna be a dental assistant. Like, I'm gonna get my associates here, and then I'm gonna go off and get into like a dental assistant program, and then I'm gonna go work. But after my first year, I had got pretty much a 4.0, and I was like, And then I went to the second year. And the second year was just it's easy for me. And then like when people started asking me, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna apply to the dental hygiene program at Tyler Junior College. This college was like 30-45 minutes away from Trinity Valley. So I was like, yeah. I do actually remember looking up the program details for Tyler Junior College. But still, it really like wasn't what I wanted to do. So I feel like in this moment of my life, I was just like building my confidence more and more and more as the semesters went on. So, during my second year, my first semester, people would ask me, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do the dental hygiene at Tyler Junior College, I'm looking up how much they make. It's like $70,000. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I can do that. It's like $5 a month. So, and then I remember at one point I had friends from my high school that went to Texas A&M University, and I can't remember what I went down there for, But me and some other friends, we had all went to visit Texas A&M, and it was like, I think we visited like Northgate or something like that. And it was like a real college town. Like when I thought about college, like that was the town. Cause I was in the middle of nowhere in Athens, Texas. Like it's country. So when I went there, I was just like, oh, like it was just so fun. Like it was just like everything I wanted out of college. And then I remember getting back to my community college, and then like my A&M friends would call me and check on me, and they were just like, what are you doing? Like, what do you plan on doing after like community college? Like when you finish, like you about to finish up there, like what's next? And I was just like, I'm gonna come to Texas A&M. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, I want to come there. And I was like, oh, okay, like we'll help you apply and all these different things. And they actually did. They helped me apply, and I got in to Texas A&M after graduating last in my class in high school. Ain't that crazy? So I got into Texas A&M. I started August 2017, right? But mind y'all, I didn't really understand. I'm kind of understanding how school works, but I didn't understand it in its full totality. So when I'm in junior college and I'm in high school, I'm not thinking that when you go into these big universities, like you're going to be taking like these super hard science classes and chemistry classes and all of these different things. So I was like, at the time, I'm still researching how to become a dentist and how long it takes and how much they make and all of these different things. So they was like, the best majors is chemistry, biology, biochemistry, like really rigorous majors. So I'm like, I gotta tap into the science world. Like I gotta start working on my biologies and my chemistries and things like that. And I remember when I got accepted into Texas A&M, it was in February, before the semester. It was the February before the August I started. So once I got in, we had the new student like conference, which was in July. I registered for my chemistry, my biology, and like some elective courses. And they sent out this program called ALEKS, ALEKS. Mind y'all, I had never really seen, or I don't ever really remember seeing a periodic table in my entire life. Like, and I say that like so truthfully, like, or if I seen it, I didn't really recognize what it was. So once I figured out I was going to be taking biology and chemistry, our professor sent out and it was like, there's this program to help you transition from, wherever you're coming from to Texas A&M level sciences. Like, it was mainly for chemistry. I don't think there was a portion for biology. So that was like, you can do this program before classes start in late August to like help ease you into like the courses. And I was like, you know what? It's the summertime. Like I'm literally done. I don't have any classes. So I was just like, let me just do it. I had never seen any of this stuff before. So when I started it, I was like, I was literally mind blown. I'm like, this has to be like the hardest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Like, and it was just like little stuff. Like it was like, what's the atomic number for this, and like what's the molar mass. It was just like, but it was like so foreign to me because I had never seen this stuff before. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just treat it like a job at this point. Like I don't have anything to do. It's the summertime. I was just literally waking up every day, and I would go to Walmart because I live like right across the street from Walmart, and I would buy these books, and they used to have like 4 for $1, and I would just fill them up with handwriting, like trying to learn all of this stuff. And I remember I had a friend, his name was Devin Carter. He lived in Carpus Cove. I remember vividly calling him up. He was like a chemistry genius. He would literally, because I couldn't really articulate what the program was trying to teach me, he would literally break it down for me so simple. Because I used to always ask him like what do the noble gases mean? And I remember him explaining to me, like, one time he was like, all the elements on the right hand side, the noble gases, right? He was like, every element on the periodic table wants to be like that element. So he was explaining to me like why certain elements have different charges, like the -2s or the +2s. And like at that moment I was like, I'm starting to understand it now. And then everything else started to follow behind it. Although I wasn't great at it, I was like, okay, it's starting to make a little bit more sense now. So thank you, Devin, for that. I don't think he knows that, but yeah. So I had completed the whole Alex program. It was not mandatory. It was just really strictly for your own leisure. I think we got like a small portion of extra credit for it. So I started my first semester at Texas A&M University. Oh, it was like hard. It was real hard for me because if you live in Texas and you understand how the school system works for Texas A&M University and UT, University of Texas, you could understand how this transition could be very difficult for me because if you are, first of all, they mainly only take Texas students, which I am from Texas, but the key thing to remember about this is that they really only take students that are, I think nowadays it's like the top 7%. So you have to be in the top 7% of your class to really even have a chance of getting into these schools. So I'm in a classroom of 300 to 400 people in biology, chemistry, all of my classes. All of the people that were 95% of the people that are in these classes were top 7% in their high school, no matter what high schools they came from. And then there's me, who graduated last in high school. So I was like, I gotta go back to my old ways. I can't miss no classes. I gotta pay attention. All of these different things. I tried that my first semester. I ended up Q dropping like every course. And I think mainly it was because I didn't have any structure when it came to studying. Like you really had to study. And I didn't really study as much when I was in junior college because it was like I was understanding it as they were teaching it. So I was like, I didn't really have to study. It was just like I was like brushing up on information. I'll do a couple of problems, go in, make a 90, 95 on the test. When I got to that first semester of Texas A&M, I thought it was going to be the same. No, I think I made like, no exaggeration, I probably made like, and this might not even sound that bad, but I think I made like a 60 on my first exam in both classes. Something like that. I know I didn't pass. And I had never made a 60 before in college. So I was like, I got to get A's in these classes. I want to be in dental school. So I had went through like a couple of exams. And I was just like, yeah, it's looking like I'm gonna either get a D or a C at the best. So I ended up Q dropping the classes, and I was like, you know what? Next semester, I'm gonna start different. I'm gonna go in it with a different approach. I'm gonna try to put in some overtime. I went to get some advice from my so-called advisor, and this man was just like, yeah, you had a really tough, first semester. I think that, you probably like do better if you like kind of withdrew and like maybe like he was telling me just like some straight up BS, and I was just like, withdraw, like leave the university. And he was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, I never went back to him again. I don't know what you're talking about, but I was like, I'm not withdrawing, guarantee that. You know, my second semester, I ended up doing a lot better. I started putting in more time and investing in tutoring and things of that nature. And I want to say my second semester, I basically just took the same classes I took my first semester. I took biology 1, chemistry 1, and then like a few other electives. Now, I got a C in biology 1 and a B in chemistry 1. I won't go into the details on how I got a C in biology 1 because I really deserved a B. I'll just say the teacher that gave me the C when I really deserved a B, and I had proof, that professor no longer works at Texas A&M, and my reasoning has part to do with it. But anyways, that's besides the point. And just as time went on, you know, I started doing better. Like let's just highlight all my grades, right? I got a C in Bio 1. I got a B in Chem 1. In Bio 2, I got a B. In Chem 2, I got a B. OChem 1, I got a B. OChem 2, I got an A. Biochem, I got a B plus because I took it at another school. Physics 1, I got a A. Physics 2, I got a B. Stats, I got a B. Anatomy and physiology, I got a B. I think that was all the genetics. I got a pass because it was pass fail because of COVID. Calculus, I got a pass because it was pass fail because of COVID. I think that's pretty much all the prerequisites for the most part. But anyways, I finished my time at Texas A&M, right? I graduated Texas A&M August 2020, right? I got accepted into a master's program. My master's program was at Texas State University in San Marcos. I also started my master's program in August. So I had graduated Texas A&M in August, and I started my master's program in August of 2020. But to rewind a little bit, when I was about to graduate from Texas A&M, they was like, hold up. We cannot let you graduate because you're missing 2 semesters of foreign language. I was like, what? I was like, I'm literally, like, I had thought that this was going to be my last semester, right? And I think this is like in 2019, something like that. And yeah, I was like, are y'all sure? Like, and they was like, yeah, we don't see like you took a foreign language in high school. So you're going to have to take 2 semesters of foreign language in college, which is basically a whole nother year. So I would have graduated in August 2021. Had COVID not would have hit at the time, I would have graduated a year later. But COVID happened. So they let me take the foreign language placement exam online. I passed. I got 12 hours of foreign credit. Feliz Navidad. Yes, so I ended up graduating, a blessing. Oh my God, thank you, God, for allowing me to pass that exam. But I passed. I graduated August 2020. I started my master's program August 2020. My master's program was in biology. I was at Texas State University in San Marcos. I was taking classes like regular, and I at this point I'm full-fledged. Like even when I got to Texas A&M, I'm like, okay, now I have to be a dentist. Like now I really have to pursue my goals. So I was like, okay, if I graduate by 2020, you know, I could do a year, and then I could be a dentist by 2025. Delusional, very delusional. I remember starting my master's program. I was like, you know, I'm gonna take it light. I'm gonna try to study for my DAT. I took my first DAT November. Mind y'all, I just graduated undergrad in 2020 of August. My first DAT was scheduled for November 1st of 2020. That is just like, had I known better, I would have never did anything like that. Because like, that's just too much school leading up to like an exam like that. So this is why mentorship is important. If I had a great mentor, no shade to my mentor at the time, it's just like we were both trying to figure out the whole dentistry thing. We didn't really have any guidance. So it was like, she was here and I was here. So it was like we only knew so much. But had we had somebody that was like me and her now, we would have understood the process a little bit better. My first DAT, I took in November. Didn't get the score I wanted. I'm like, okay. I'm like, the next time I take my DAT, I'm gonna be for real about it, because I can't waste any more time and money on this, because it's like you have to spend $500 for the test, $500 for the study material. It takes a year to get into dental school, and it takes months to study for it. So it's like when you BS it, you kind of automatically set yourself back a year and a half, and then it takes a whole nother 6 months for you to actually start dental school after you get accepted. So it's like, that's why I'm like so hard on like the people that I give advice to. I'm like, do not take this exam unless you're 100% ready, because if you do that, you setting yourself back 2 years. And even if you studied a little bit, okay, you set yourself back a year and a half or a year and a quarter. So like, be very strategic whenever you're planning to go into dental school, or else you're gonna miss out on a lot of time and a lot of money. It's better just to do it right the first time. Because let's just say I had did it right the first time, right? And I actually planned, right? And I just waited to December to start studying, right? And because I really didn't need to do a semester, like another semester in the master's program. Like, let's just say if I would have studied instead of doing the master's program and just submitted my application, then I would have just been going in 2021. You see what I'm saying? Like, I would have been somewhat of a late applicant to some schools, but the schools I wanted to go to, I would have been just fine. Like, if I would have just stopped school in August, if I would have studied hard for 2 months, right, and then submitted, I would have still been good. I would have been starting dental school 2021 that June, which would have made me class of 2025. So like, just by like little dumb mistakes like that, you miss out on so much. Now, the second time I took my DAT, I made sure, I started to understand it now. I'm like, okay, if I mess this up, I'm putting myself back basically a whole nother year and a half. So I was like, you know what? I'm finna go in here overly prepared. So, and at this point in time, like, I was still in my master's program the second time I planned my DAT. And I remember, because my second DAT, I took it August 2022. And I was in a research program at the time, and they wanted me to dedicate my summer to school. And I was like, y'all know my main goal and my end goal is to become a dentist, right? And they were just like, yeah, but you still like have your obligations to, doing your research and writing your paper. I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, I'm gonna study for my DAT, and then I'll see y'all next semester. My DAT in August 2022. So that means I had started studying again for my second DAT. I think I started passively studying in February of 2022. Because the first time I took it, I think I got like a 16 in the biology section. I was like, that can't happen again. So I had beginning to read the chapters for the biology section in February, like passively. So I printed out all the RA like boot camp chapters, and I would just read one and review it, read one and review it. And I would try to do like 2 a week. But obviously, like, I was like not super focused because like I still had like the little school and the research projects. So like I was in February, I hadn't got to the point to where like my advisors and like the head of my research was telling me like, hey, like you need to focus more on your research other than the DAT, although I wanted to be a dentist, which was just crazy to me. um but yeah, so I started passively studying. We had finished in May, and then I think I gave myself like a small break, and then I locked in for real. But if y'all know anything about these undergraduate leases, I had like to move and take my stuff and put it in storage. Like I had so many different things like going on in the midst of me studying, but I still made sure that my brain, that I knew like if you go on that test unprepared, you setting yourself back, you losing money, all the above. So yeah, I was like, I can't let none of this stop me. So despite me having to move and all of these different things, I made sure that I stayed focused. I went into my exam August 1st feeling overly prepared. It was in San Antonio, Texas. Went in there, took my test. I don't know if y'all know this, but when you take the DAT, when you click submit at the end, you see your score on the screen. So when I seen my score, I thought I was gonna get a lot higher because I felt like I was like zooming through it and I knew everything. But I got the score. I got a good enough score, and I went out. They printed out my score. I went home. I slept like I probably slept for like 14, 15 hours straight for real. Like I was asleep. I remember waking up in that immediate weekday. I sent that email to my research supervisor, and I was just like, yeah, y'all won't be seeing me this semester. And I tried to do it respectfully, but it was like, I think they kind of took it the wrong way, but they just didn't understand like being a PhD student or like being into research really wasn't my thing. The research was kind of cool though, but it really wasn't like the thing that I had a passion for. Like, so like, why would I put something that I have a passion for aside that's ultimately gonna affect me in a negative way when I could just take care of it now and then I'll figure out the rest later. That was just my headspace at the time, and I still agree with it. But yeah, I informed them that y'all would not be seeing me for the fall semester. And then I moved, I started working, started saving. I started getting interviews. I did get first round acceptances, but my number one choice was always Meharry. Like I wanted to go to Meharry, and this is just, I had never seen Meharry. I had never spoken to anybody who went to Meharry. It was just everything that I've heard about Meharry. It was just always good. It was like Meharry. It was like such a great school. Like Meharry faculty, Meharry culture. Like it was just always positive. And I was just like, you know what? I think I want to go here. Like every time people bring up this school is just greatness that comes behind it. Obviously, like Howard is just phenomenal. Like one of the meccas of HBCUs, but it's in DC. I'm from Texas, and I felt like when I had my interview, the connection really wasn't there like I had with Meharry. So although I didn't do my interview for Meharry until way later than Howard, yeah, Meharry was always my number one. So how I went about this process, because I got accepted to Howard before I got accepted to Meharry. I think I submitted my application on like late July, and then I just added my score on like August or whenever they uploaded it. So I got accepted in Howard. One of the schools was Howard, first round. I waited literally like 29 days to pay my deposit for Howard. It was $1,000. I did not want to pay that. But I hadn't even got an interview from Meharry, so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just pay the $1,000. Paid the $1,000 for Howard, and I thought that was it. I thought I was going to Howard. I was like, wow, Meharry really does not want me. So it had came all the way to like March, and I had finally got my interview from Meharry, and I was like, thank you, God. And a funny story is that my interview was on March 7th, and when I got when I got on my interview, I was on there for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, okay, like where's the people? So I had to call Meharry and was like, yeah, I'm on the interview link, but nobody's on here. And they was like, oh, like, because there was some confusion because I have a classmate named Kristen Walls and my name is Christian Walker. So I guess there was like some confusion. But anyways, like they got my interview squared away, and I had 2 interviews. And I think one of the interviews I interviewed with a professor, and he pretty much was like, because I had went into the interview basically like, I know I'm not good enough to get in y'all school, but please, like, I was like, I will gracefully drop my Howard seat to be accepted into Meharry. And you know, they really made me feel like I deserved to be there. So the person that was interviewing me was like, I know, like, you probably think that like you're a bad applicant, but you went to Texas A&M and you got a 3.2 GPA, which isn't high, but he was like, you know, it was great for Texas A&M. And he was just like, I'm gonna recommend you to the board to get accepted. And I was just like, oh my God, like my dreams are coming true. And I'm thinking like, okay, like every match day is on the 15th. So when March 15th came, because my interview was on March 7th, so I'm thinking, oh, I'll get accepted in a week. Like I'll get the letter and stuff. March 15th came and I'm like, where's my letter of acceptance? And you know, I was just like, bruh, I don't know if he said maybe, I don't know if he said I was gonna get in. Like I just started being delusional. So I was like, you know what? I give up. I was like, you know what? I already paid my deposit for Howard. Like, I was like, I'm just gonna go to Howard. Like, I'm tired of stressing about this. I remember it was March 22nd. I woke up early in the morning and I was just like, I checked my email. I was like, still no email. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start looking for apartments. I was on my phone scrolling through some like Howard or DC like website of like apartments that they recommend for dental students. And I was just like, dang, like, man, I would have loved to like go to Meharry. And I was like, let me just check my Adia portal one more time. I checked it and it said offer accepted by Meharry. I was like, yes! Like I literally screamed. I was like, yes. I sent it to my mentor and she was like, I told you. She was like, I told you were gonna get in. I was like, thank you. But yeah, that's how I ended up in Meharry. Thank y'all for watching. This is my story from high school to how I ended up at Meharry, and I just think it's such a beautiful thing. I tried my best to dive as deep as I could. But I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I hope it really inspired you to just be intentional and have faith in yourself, because I doubted myself a lot of the steps of the way. But have faith in yourself, trust the process, get you a mentor, because that's what I didn't have. Get you a mentor, because that would have helped me exponentially. And just pray, man. Pray and have faith. Thank y'all for watching. This is my journey. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But even if you don't, share it to somebody who you think this would be helpful to. And I'll see you on the next episode.